Good morning. It's Friday, and that means Friday sing-along. You know, on Wednesday night, I was sitting with Axis, our high school youth group, on my patio, and we were connecting with each other. But we looked at Proverbs chapter 8, and saw expressions of wisdom calling out, and as we talked about that, we noticed that wisdom seems to be a character, a person, not just an idea, and which was interesting. We didn't know for sure what to make about that, but also that wisdom was in obvious places: at the city gate, where everybody comes and goes; at the intersection of the roads, again, where everybody comes and goes, and is not just calling out, not just standing there to be noticed, but calling out and even crying out, asking people to come toward. And so we left with this image in our minds of God calling to us and not hiding, but making God's self visible for us and available for us. And so as I thought about Friday Sing Along, I thought about these songs about Jesus calling to us. The first song, Christ Calls to Me, and the last song, Softly and Tenderly, Jesus is Calling. And then just a little refrain, Listen in the Silence. And I think what we'll do is we'll sing that little refrain, Listen in the Silence, before each of the other two songs, and then after, at the end. So we'll start with that. It goes like this. As is normal for me, I do all this a cappella in my office, and sometimes I get the keys all confused in my head. So I'm going to have to take a moment before each song to sort it out, because these first two, they're competing in my head for the way the notes and the actual key is. All right, bum 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 bum, which isn't actually the key, but that's how I'm getting at it. Listen in the silence, listen in the noise, listen for the sound of the Spirit's voice. Listen in the silence, listen in the noise, listen for the sound of the Spirit's voice. Okay, bum 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 bum. All right. Christ calls to me, but not because I seek, and not because of any words I pray, or times that I confess that I am weak. Christ calls to me because I often stray. Christ welcomes me, but not because I trust, and not because of merit, work, or deed, or any claims than what I might deserve. Christ welcomes me because he knows my need. Christ blesses me, but not because I serve, and not because I share all I possess, and seek no more than what I might deserve. Christ blesses me because he wants to bless. I seek, I trust, I serve because of grace, a grace that tunes my heart to holy ways, and live and love within Christ's broad embrace, and to become an instrument of praise. Listen in the silence, listen in the noise, listen for the sound of the Spirit's voice. Okay. Ba 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 ba. Softly and tenderly Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. See, on the portals he's waiting and watching, watching for you and for me. Come home, come home. You who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, O sinner, come home. Why should we tarry when Jesus is pleading, pleading for you and for me? Why should we linger and heed not his mercies, mercies for you and for me? Come home, come home. You who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, O sinner, come home. Oh, for the wonderful love he has promised, promised for you and for me. Though we have sinned, he has mercy and pardon, pardon for you and for me. Come home, come home. You who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, beloved, come home. Oh, yeah, we're going to do the other one. Listen in the silence. Listen, there we go, got it. In the noise. Listen for the sound of the Spirit's voice. Listen in the silence. Listen in the noise. Listen for the sound of the Spirit's voice. Amen.